You did that just to sow discord in the body of Christ. I will repeat this prophecy. And then the only reason I'm repeating it, because I've already shared it, is because Hebatong, how much does it cost for you to keep on paying these companies? Guys, I need to understand. Like, is it worth more? Like, for instance, I found out about this one guy. One said there's a killer reka docket police station and got 30,000. Or regular docket got 30,000. To make his daughter's case go away. 30,000 rands. Keep it 30,000. Mutwa kona upila in a very humble house ko Dobsonville. Mara o kono nsa 30,000 randa ho keep a ngwana hai what junkie out of jail. So if it costs 30K to buy a docket to make a case ya fraud go away, how much does it cost you to keep on paying companies like ByteDance, like YouTube, not just YouTube, but people who work there? How much do they biza? Ibi go biza malin. Ugyo compromise I content eka Karabo. Is it 30K or is it 2,000 rands every 3 weeks? Depending on what I'm doing, eh? Depending on who you can talk to, eh? Because you've paid someone at Facebook, you've paid someone at YouTube, you've paid someone at ByteDance, you keep paying them. You have to keep going back to these people. It's not like it's not like they've put you or you've put them on a retainer. Every time you need a new favor pulled in, so get the DK, kibukai. Anga but you know what, do you? Jaka khale pata easily the 30K so easily. These 30,000 rands of yours that you are willing to let go of, allow me to help you understand, ne? How even if you were to silence me because you paid some idiot or ByteDance to block me from having access to all the features of that application that is called CapCut, no mangina ninga patala is domjan seboto sedutsingo ByteDance. I seriously doubt hore ke tswa ntho tsena ke batho ba ranang company, as in big head honchos. It's usually some minions on the ground with administrative rights over policies, not policies, but what you call this, accounts, channels. Getting moderators, it's people on the ground. I see the poster thing. You know, okay, it's again, let's just keep talking. Let's just keep talking, man. Nah, I'm very innovative. You guys think in a silo, you've got a very trained mentality. My guys, the world is huge. It's mammoth, okay? It's gargantuan. And the App Store, yeah, Apple, App Store, yeah, Play Store is also just as big as this earth. There's no end to what alternatives a person can have in order to basically achieve a similar result to that which you took. Mara, you see, that desperation is the very thing that causes investigations to happen, yo. Because when there's like weird, eerie, creepy, strange, anomalous, odd activity going on because one little, birdie sitting in a chair in a company strangely has got certain track records, certain electronic signatures. One day go desking, be like, Kiribon, come to my desk, come to my office. Tabo, please come to my office. Leonard, please come to my office. Mark, can we have a chat? It's the kind of stuff that makes a person stand up and ask what's going on. I'll give you an example. Y'all are gonna get called out nasty, right? I don't even know what to talk about first, but let's talk. When I was working for Nedbank in the call center, I did home loans insurance. I endured a severity of heartbreak because my ex-boyfriend, my then boyfriend, I came to suspect that he was cheating on me. Right? And I was in love with him, besotted. I was not yet ready to break up. So I interrogated him until he confessed and said, yes, I did cheat. How it is that I got the truth out of him was that I said to him, the reason I'm asking is because I went and I took an HIV test. And his response was, and? Almost as if though he was wondering whether it would come out negative or positive. Essentially, he not only confessed to cheating by responding that way, but he also confessed to cheating without protection. Yeah. This man was out here sleeping with women without protection and then diving into me like he's Trey Songs. And I came to find out by tricking him into confessing. It looks like I need to go and get an HIV test because I surely am negative. Yeah, guys. The pain in my heart when the truth came out that my ex not only cheated on me, but did so without protection. Shame. I was a zombie. I was catatonic. I was inconsolable. So, naturally, emsebenzini, at work, I was still a zombie, catatonic, and inconsolable. I couldn't work. I was out of it because my boyfriend not only cheated, but I could be sitting there desking, because nje haina self-control. Yeah. Worried about my health, worried about my future, and broken, devastated that the man I love, hey? I sit there at my desk, put my earphones on, and you know the thing that you do, the button that you press when you need to go and use the bathroom, or when you're on a lunch break, or when you need to go and pee, or when you need to go on a smoke break, when you need to just get up for a minute to pick up a pencil that fell on the floor, and then you get back. Yeah, I press that button. But instead of going to go and pee, instead of going for a smoke break, because at the time I used to smoke, instead of taking a lunch break, instead of fetching a pen on the floor, I just sat at my desk, having pressed that button that reroutes calls to other agents. Kadula fela, guys. I just sat there and calls went to other people. Right past me, right past me, right past me. I just sat there. Weird, strange activity. There were like 15 agents in that team. 15. For the better majority, my bosses, there were 2 bosses, 15 agents between 2 bosses, a guy and a girl, a man and a woman, right? Usually, this guy and this girl are either chatting with each other, or they're checking out emails, or they're doing whatever. They're doing reports, or they are in a meeting, or usually they were not focusing on whatever we're doing. Usually they are out there dealing with issues like escalations, customers complaining, wada. And I took for granted that my bosses are probably doing reports, focusing on customers, wada, etc. You get my point. I did not. Yes, indeed, the bosses had a way to monitor activity of the agents, what they're doing, but they it's something that you would have to, almost like you're a stock broker, constantly looking at a screen in order to make a decision. No, they didn't have to do that. They did not micromanage us that way. They just let things be. For the better majority, they were not looking at activity on the screen of agents. They were just doing their own work. Yeah. But on this one fateful day, my boss, the male, the guy, was strangely out here gazing at the screens, monitoring agent activity. Yeah, that's what's good. Almost like a stockbroker gauging at agent activity. Market activity in order to make a decision. On this one fateful day, he was doing the thing that we used to take for granted. They barely ever do. I was not the first agent to do that. Out here rerouting calls when you just want to take 5 minutes off, man. We used to do it all the time. But Mina, I did it, and I did it for so long. I think I must have sat there for like 15 minutes. Just sitting. Calls just going past, going to other agents. And my boss stood up from his desk. Yo, I was bereft. I was pining. I was in pain. I was sorrowful. I was thinking about being cheated on, the fact that I might have HIV, blah, blah, blah. That's what was going on in my mind. I had a storm, a medical psychosis in that moment. But my boss didn't know that. I was supposed to ask for a 5-minute break or whatever, or even take the day off. But I was there, and I was just sitting at my desk, calls going everywhere else instead of to me. And my boss, who was sitting watching this activity, next thing he gets, I'd never seen him like that. I had never, Wankudra. Next thing, he's at my desk, and he's like, Karabo, an Indian guy. He's like, Karabo, come to my desk now. I get off. I did not need to press any funny buttons because I had already pressed that funny button. I get up and I go to the desk, and he had already typed out for me a final written warning. He had already typed up for me a final written warning and said that this here is a final written warning. You've been rerouting calls. I've seen you. And while you were on the phone, I got in contact with HR, and we concocted this. We put this together now. And this is your final written warning. One last, funny little error of this nature, and you're out. One last, I felt so trashy. I felt so trashy. Here it is that this man is about to cost me my career, my job, a job I needed. It took me so much to get any kind of employment at all after my mom didn't pay my fees at Wits, and I had to drop out. I went to a leadership program at Liberty Life, and it was such a blessing to get a job, employment, and not just sit around gather dust in the kasi. And I was out here playing with umsebenzi because of some boy. Yo, boss yamangela Karabo wanglanda at desk, and he gave me a final written warning. And after that, I basically swallowed my sorrow. Do you understand? And I took my calls, and I did my time, and I worked. My boss, I told you stories of that one day, go Netbank call center, to help you understand Uguti. Shoddy, crazy, ridiculous, nasty, menacing activity on the part of these social media employees. Do not think Uguti ngoba ama boss enu. You are used to them focusing on other things, looking at other people, always in meetings. Calls be like proper, they don't check their monitors for anomalous activity. Sometimes, however, your boss could be sitting at desk and just sipping some coffee, telling themselves that I'm going to take a break for 5 minutes, and in this 5 minutes, have the screen open of agent activity, and then notice something weird going on with Agent 7, otherwise known as Karabo Hlongwane. And then just watch this activity and realize, yo, 1 call, rerouted, 2 calls, 3, 4, 10 calls rerouted. The Muntu is sitting at desk. When then he pops his head over, he realizes I'm not even at the bathroom. I'm there, I'm there, and yet I'm not taking calls. Cannot be accounted for with that, or maybe I've got diarrhea in the bathroom. I'm at my desk, and yet I'm not taking calls. And I'm not on a lunch break. I'm just sitting there. Final written warning. I took for granted that which all the agents and I every so often took for granted, that if you just want to get a leg stretch, you can just take 5 minutes out, man. They won't notice. And for the larger majority, they didn't, except for that one fateful day. And the Lord has a thing about creating fateful days. The Lord has a thing about creating the day when you think no one is looking, and that shoddy thing that you do because you got 2,000 rands underneath a desk. He has a thing about causing your boss to be looking at your activity while you are doing that thing, and then come to your desk and be like, Pinky, can you explain to me why you have taken away from a content creator all access to features on this application? Who is this content creator and why have you done this? It's not my decision. You are rogue. You are acting without instruction from us. Why have you blocked JKS 5001 from accessing all the features on the application? What did they do? What have they done to amass this kind of harassment? I need to understand. This is personal? Oh, so you use your job to take out a squinch on people. Is that what we're doing over here? Honey, when you're found doing stuff like that, I didn't sabotage client policies. I wasn't found embezzling funds. I was not found out here tweaking details, material information on a client's policy so as to influence the outcome of that client's claim on their home loan insurance. I was just ignoring clients because I was going through a lot with my boyfriend. If, however, I was found, like I said, manipulating material information on a client policy, I wouldn't have gotten a final written warning. I would have gotten a suspension with immediate effect pending disciplinary hearing, the end result of which would have been suspect dismissal. There are certain things that can get you a final written warning, and then there are certain things that are so incredibly gross in their misconduct that they result in immediate termination. Immediate suspension pending disciplinary hearing, end result of which is a termination. So, seeing as my boss found me ignoring a call, and it was bad enough to get me a final written warning, but not so bad as to get me fired, what do you think manipulating a client's policy so as to, like I said, so as to change the outcome of that particular claim or result or policy or whatever? This is the difference between a misdemeanor and gross misconduct. When I was working for MTN, there was a young man in procurement, an Indian guy that we used to work with a lot when we were administrators. So we used to work with him a lot doing purchase orders and what have you. When we were ordering like stationery or team buildings, catering and whatnot, we often had to go through that guy. He would be the one to sign off our documents and whatnot. He was like of superior level. He had he had supervisor level. And so we would go to him instead of his boss. So he was not on our level. He was slightly higher than us, but lower than his boss. He was like basically the face that we needed to go to not annoy his boss so much with all of our admin demands. This young man who was a supervisor in procurement, overlooking all the random things that you can procure in the building, in the business, that we knew very, very closely, very well. He was also such a pervert. Unashala everybody, anyway, whatever, right? This man, let's say his name was Jamal. Okay, that's a black man's name. Let's say his name was I don't know, Riyadh. Yeah, Riyadh. Let's say his name was Riyadh. Riyadh. Hey, Batong. One day we find out that the guy has been fired. Yesterday he was hello. We were seeing him. And we were like, how in the world is this guy fired so quickly, so suddenly? How has he been escorted out the building that quickly? You know, in South Africa, there is quite a process to get rid of a person, especially when they're a permanent employee. You gotta, suspend them with immediate dismissal, take their laptops and whatnot, suspend them immediately, pending disciplinary hearing, and then take away their things. But it is generally known that Hlongwane is going to lose their job. They're going to eventually get fired type thing. His disciplinary hearing did not even happen after a week or two of that notice of suspension. It happened almost like a day later, the way that they just wanted to get rid of him from the building. We find out one day, Uguti, the person that we work with closely in procurement, our contact, our hook into procurement, because, we were always needing to work with procurement, but that guy was gone. Riyadh was gone. Bamukubile. And the rumor mill in the company, I just spread that thing like wildfire. And we were like, well, I guess we're going to have to wait for whoever's going to replace this Oki, whoever is going to replace Riyadh. But I remember when the news of Riyadh's dismissal came, I remember thinking, Hlongwane has destroyed his entire future because he will never ever work again in corporate South Africa. He will have to succeed in business. Whatever he studied is a waste now. He will no longer be able to get any job ever again in corporate South Africa, believably so, unless of course he is, how Indians got each other's bags. Nepotism might move him from place to place. But the only way that this guy's going to eat bread again in the future is if he succeeds somehow, like a criminal that's out of jail, to start his own business, because nobody is going to be willing to hire him again. I felt bad for him that way, but I was like, but Moenzan, do you know what Riyadh did? Hey, yeah. Riyadh, Mr. Procurement, I get it, he's got access to, all the shops. He has access to all the stores that MTN is contracted with. They say you can only buy stationery from PNA and not from CNA. You can only buy stationery from Watson's and not from here. You can only buy cookies from Checkers but not from Pick and Pay. You can only buy this. Yeah, there are basically a list of approved vendors that we could go through. This guy, of course, is the one that out here was around when these contracts were being fostered. He also had relationships with the people that worked at the Checkers, the procurement lady at Checkers, the procurement lady at PNA, basically all these stores across South Africa, the contracts that MTN had. This guy was the face for them too. He's the one that did him and his boss, the negotiations. And he was the one that was also in a position to approve our purchases and also approve if we could not find on the list of vendors that MTN, when we had to go outside of our approved vendors, because of course with them we were able to get discounts and everything, right? When we wanted to order from unapproved vendors, we also had to go through him to basically, what is the word that I'm looking for? Like veto, like the system to just say it's okay, you can order this from there because it's a unique situation. You need the thing, but it's not available from PNA, so you can get it from CNA type setup thing. Yeah, he was that guy. And this Oki having that kind of relationship with the stores of MTN, with the business relationships to MTN for procurement purposes. When MTN would out here order stationery like at year end or at mid-year or at term quarter end, staff need stationery, staff need biscuits for little random meetings that always just need to be on site, instead of a PO can take like forever. It can take 2 weeks for stuff to arrive or a week. So there are things that are automatically on site, like in some kind of a storage locker. Okay, there's always all sorts biscuits, there's always Ioros, there's always this and always that. Yeah, always stationery. Order in advance, since you have already forecast that this Mark Finance is going to need this many pens and erasers and rulers and post-it notes. Marketing is going to need this, marketing. So there's basically a locker room or some kind of a storage facility for pre-ordered for the year, based on forecast things that we need. Yeah, things that the company needs, people that work there. So as to make sure that when we order them, we can get them in a day as opposed to 2 weeks, because literally we're ordering them from all the way from the Pick and Pay or from the Checkers or whatever. Yeah, okay, you get my point, y'all. You get my point. Yeah, storage sale. the forecast pre-order stuff that was already in these little mini warehouses, like stuff that was already on stock. This guy worked for procurement for so many years, and he had made observations over these many years as to by year end what essentially is how can I even call, I can't really call it maverick spend, but that which is like stationery brought down or biscuits brought down, you know, like in accounting, like last year's stuff is out here brought down to the next year and we just start with it. There are things that like basically get left over at the end of each year that are not utilized this year, that are not depleted by the staff. And some of the stuff was perishable, but some of it was non-perishable. Like stationery, you can bring stationery pens down to the next year, but biscuits, you're probably gonna have to give them out to staff, you know, like, yeah, at the end of the year, like, eat the biscuits, finish them off, give them to your kids for Christmas or whatever, because we can't keep biscuits for too long. And what about a fish paste? Yeah, this dude had understanding as to what gets left over at the end of each cycle, at the end of each year. And instead of accounting for it, like under company governance and regulation, he decided that he was going to create his own business. Riyadh. He made a decision that he was going to create his own business at home and use MTN money to stock the shelves of his little shop where he was selling stationery, biscuits, whatever it is that we could order as a company. This dude literally started a shop at home and stocked it with MTN procured goods. And apparently he was doing it for so long that no one could understand how. It just went over the head of his boss. But you see, he did it so cleverly that because it was often stuff that basically people would not notice it went missing because it was brought down at the end of each year. And on top of that, he started to over order. I think that's what got him exposed. Like basically every the orders that they would make were not only quarterly based on forecast. Sometimes you would have to order like weekly, right, based on the needs in the business. So when people on the ground would order like a stationery for a team building, he would order literally in excess, or he would create he would order in excess. Like he would order 1 extra unit or 2 or 10 extra units while the team only needed 7, and then he would keep 3. He would order 10 units while the team needed 7, and then he would keep 3. And because the teams, once you've already given like finance all their stationery, finance is not going to be like out here like accounting letting you guys know that, okay, thank you for giving us 10 pens. They're just going to be like, thank you for giving us pens. They're not going to count that you gave them 10 pens and exactly. So this dude would literally keep 3 pens and give 7 to finance. You get my point. Stuff like that. He would keep the all sorts biscuits, say 3, and give marketing 7 boxes. Marketing was not about to be like, hey, there's 3, like marketing ordered 7 boxes. This guy on the PO tweaked it and said 10 boxes. Marketing is not about to come back and say, hey, where are the other 3 boxes of biscuits, seeing as we ordered, apparently according to this purchase order on the system, we apparently initially ordered 10. I only remember receiving 7. And nobody is out here coming back and saying that you did not give us enough muffins. Nobody is coming back to let anybody know that there aren't enough pens based on the PO. And for years he got away with it. And he kept on stocking his own little business with the surplus that he would beef up in all the people in the business that would order through him and would then take it over to his business. And he got caught with, in particular, a stationery order, where it is that he was hyper ordering stationery, and there were inconsistencies between where the stationery went, the stationery that was also banked on site in the storage facilities of the procurement department, as well as that which was accounted for at the end of each year. Those discrepancies were discovered one year, and upon then basically looking backward and auditing this whole situation, he made like a whole investigation got raised up against him. And it was noticed that He, in particular, always inflated by marginal numbers, orders that he would make at all these vendors in comparison to teams in the business. They would order 5, he would order 7. They would order 10, he would order 12. They would order 11, he would order 13. They would, and these differences basically called him out on stationery. Stationery was what he got busted for. I remember making a joke with one colleague. It was not just pens and pencils. He just got caught on stationery, but it was anything at all that procurement could buy. Anything at all that procurement could buy. This guy was using it to sell, to make an extra buck on the side in his own little business at home. He was using Cheltako MTN to stock his business. He was using MTN funds to enrich himself. And once he got found wanting, he was fired. Like, there is no talking to somebody like that. I mean, think about it. Like, what do you order on procurement? Like toilet paper? You guys, soap in the bathrooms? Hey, detergents to clean the building? Like, there is no end to what you can order. Go procurement. Electronics, cell phones. Like, yo, this guy was, I don't even know how, like, he got away with it for as long as he did. But as soon as he was found wanting, he was escorted out of the building and immediately dismissed after a disciplinary hearing. Yeah, what I'm getting at is that y'all are like Riyadh as opposed to like me. I was found good desking because my boss was out here looking at the monitors to gauge my activity. I was found doing that which was unseemly, but it was not the stuff of theft. It was not the stuff of embezzlement, larceny. It was an irresponsible employee that is lazy, not trying to work. And it got me a final written warning. But that Indian Okie, that Riyadh, he got immediately suspended pending a disciplinary hearing that would then get him dismissed because he stole from the company. He stole from the organization. He enriched himself with MTN funds. I remember asking around if at all he was facing criminal charges. Well, I wasn't sure. I don't know. I don't think so. I think MTN maybe was lenient towards him, just fired him, put a black mark on his record, and told him don't come back. But they could have, if they wanted to, have raised a criminal charge against him, because frankly it was theft what he did. But I don't think he went to prison. I think he just got fired. I think MTN did not raise charges against him, maybe because his boss had compassion or whatever. But the things, stuff like that can get people also arrested. It can get people also arrested. Now, when you are busy running a syndicate inside a company of that nature, literally you are a ticking time bomb. It's a powder keg waiting to explode. You are 5 seconds away from getting found wanting. Like MTN, so many such random activity happened. Actually, there was also a year when one fateful morning, ow, that hurt. I was expecting something else to give over there. I expected this thing to do something else, man. One fateful morning, we are just rocking up in Sebenzini. It was like 8:30 in the morning. 8:30, maybe going on 9 a.m. Sorry, ne? 8:30 going on 9 a.m. I want to achieve the success that I want to achieve here. Oscar fela, man, this thing, I can't afford for it. Ukuthi iphele. Haya fela. The other one, I figured it out. I need like a really hard surface in order to achieve the success I'm trying to achieve here. It looked like it's in my computer. Not my computer, but my mouse. Anyway, this thing is not finished. Like, I know it's not finished. I know it's not finished. But anyway, whatever. Yes, there was a whole bunch of random weird activity going on at MTN. And one particular genre. Okay, there's a lipstick that's still available. I just feel the need and to just keep touching up every so often. Yeah, one particular year, around 8:30 in the morning, out here rocking up in Sebenzini, okay? Pulling a laptop and everything. Morning. Yeah, boring, nosy morning that is like, it sounds like people have got flu when they say morning. Well, everybody's out just saying morning. Hey, Bachung, when the South African police, it was a raid. It looked as if though it was the SWAT team or the FBI team in the movies when they're out here raiding a drug operation. What's happening? Get how the staff members these were from their desks and where they be at, the ones who were already there in the morning, and gazing at this activity of these popo, these maponisa coming in. Go phase 1 to phase 2. They had to use both entrances lest these kids should run away. But they were going to the call center, go phase 2. Mara, they came in and they were manning like security guards, both phase 1 and phase 2 entrances to make sure that these people are not ponyuga bampet. Bangazo kichima, bangazo balega laba. Oh. Morning. Oh, dead break in the mornings. Everybody's like, what's happening? Zing. Music is playing. Ebachong. We are looking at these like 21, 22, 18, 19-year-old kids. Boys and girls, men and women, walking out. Baba Torigadi handcuffs, arrested. Out of the building, there could have been like 30 of them. 30. Go call center. They found them at the call center. Baba Latile go call center. What were they doing? Basically, against these, MTN laid charges. As opposed to Riyadh, that MTN let go, they just fired him immediately. In some instances, the theft to the organization is so exorbitant that the company will wait for you to come to work in the morning because they can't alert you as to what's going on, because then you're going to be a flight risk. And when you arrive at work, you are then going to be arriving to some handcuffs. Literally, MTN waited for these people. Their bosses waited for them to come to work, to sit down, to log on. And then they sat there by Emela, the South African police. And the next thing, call center doors. Call center. And that's when the bosses were like, it's that guy, 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 it's that girl, it's that girl. All you stand up. And then the police were like, Sizagele, you are under arrest. Mantla Mthembu, you are under arrest. Patrick Swayze, you are under arrest. Jim Carrey, you are under arrest. I'm using all of these celebrity names because I can't innovate that easily off the spot. You are under arrest, you're under arrest. Baba Swari Sabatwana, there were like 30 to 35 of them. Kehabansiwa marching. It was so humiliating. And some of them looked like they could have been like 18, 17. Call center agents, like fresh out of matric. What were they doing? To a point where MTN literally called the cops on them and left them to come to work one morning. Whoever called in sick, I guess the police would have to go and fetch them in cleanly. But it was just neater for them to get collected. Office in the bonke, when they like had clocked in the morning, they waited for them to rock up in the office. And then whoever called them out, the investigation that was concluded and sealed behind their backs, of course, clandestinely. Yeah, they even greeted them morning. How I can not say? Baba Sheva and Jefela Badu, Laba Loga on, but say Bahore, 7:30, 8. The Popo were coming. They came in at like 8:30, 9, because that's when everybody must now be logged on. That's when people are like with call centers. You have to be. Time is very important. You can't be on some. It's flexi time. I'm coming in at 9 if I want. So everybody was already sitting at their desk, and then they got arrested. These people, these kids, were running a syndicate with the stores. So MTN had stores that were off-site, of course. Like basically, like there's a store inside. What do you call this? Malls. Like if you go to a mall and you see a store inside there, it's like an MTN store, right? These kids were working with MTN stores, with staff members at MTN stores. So essentially, this arrest happened at 14th Avenue head office and at the stores. So the people who had also clocked into their jobs at the stores also got arrested. They worked with the stores, with the sub. Okay, there are stores, and then there were stores, and then there were like vendors, the vendors of which were not necessarily, I forgot what they called them. They were not necessarily MTN stores with MTN branding, but they sold MTN products and sold MTN SIM cards and could RICA MTN SIM cards as well, even though they were not MTN stores in particular, but just ubiquitous stores that offer these kinds of services. It was basically a syndicate involving MTN stores alongside those subsidiaries, if you want to call them that. And then, of course, Basebetsale call center, Yako MTN. What were these kids doing? They were paid a fee to, upon receiving a batch of MSSINDS, basically cell phone numbers, the cell phone number. They would receive a batch of cell phone numbers, like 30 of them, and they would have to RICA these 30 on the system. They would have to approve RICA for these 30 cell phone numbers without true RICA. I can vouch for that. I've bought a SIM card that was pre-RICA'd before without providing my ID number at all. Yeah, I am confessing the horrible truth. that I have purchased a SIM card that was already recard. I lost that number. I lost that number because when I lost the phone, I tried to get a SIM swap and they were like, very well, easy, it's okay. We can SIM swap you. What's your number? I give them my number and the lady is like, this number is not recut to your name. I then remembered, oh, I bought an illegal SIM card. I was like, no, it's okay. And I walked out. I don't know why I was okay to buy a SIM card that was not pre-recut because I'm not a criminal, but I think I was just in a rush. I just wanted a cell phone number and I didn't have, I just like, it would have been so simple, so quick and so easy for me to recut, but I just didn't. So I'm trying to help you understand that people out there be dodging systems when systems get raised up. When regulation gets raised up, there's always people who just want nothing to do with it, okay? I didn't have to do that, but I did it. I have bought a pre-recut SIM before. And I lost the cell phone number, okay? Cool beans and bananas, right? These call center agents were given batches, and I mean 30 is a small number, like as in 100 or 200 cell phone numbers that were generated by MTN that they would pre-RICA without ID documents, without proof of residence. And they would then, this batch of numbers were given them by either people in the stores or people in these subsidiaries. You get one of these like other little MTN like franchises, whatever you want to call it. And the purpose for pre-rigaing these SIM cards was to sell them essentially to the black market, like criminals. The very reason why Riga was enacted as a law was in order to eradicate shoddy activity in criminal rings using cell phone numbers. It would also enable the police to essentially arrest people based on knowing who exactly made this call. Who made this call exactly? Oh, it pings back to Karabo's cell phone number. The only way to know whose cell phone number it was if the person in question was a contractor, like as in they're on contract, right? They pay a monthly fee because they bought an iPhone with the SIM card on contract. And so that's how you know that this number belongs to Peter. But with prepaid, you were able to just buy a SIM card everywhere before. And so it was all rigmarole, confusing everywhere all over the show. And nobody knew who these SIM cards belonged to. And it enabled a thriving black market, a web of criminals that out here transacted using these disposable SIM cards. So Rica became like a whole law that if you want to buy a SIM card, you've got to register it. And I mean, that's not the only reason for Rica. There was just a plethora of other things like money laundering, wada, etc. It was like Rica, just like Fika. You get my point. Like, you can't just put as much money in a bank account as you want, because what's it about? Right? Yeah, it's a type establishment thing. Okay, cool beans and bananas. So these kids were essentially part of a syndicate to enable illegal SIM cards out there that also would need to be given to, for instance, like illegal immigrants that had to have a South African cell phone number. And for them to basically knock on a South African door and say, I need a SIM card so I can be able to communicate with my family abroad or my family in South Africa, but I don't have a South African ID number. If anything, I'm an illegal alien. You're going to put me on the books. And one day, you know, your government is going to come all up in my grill and tell me that I'm going to get deported. So if I can buy a Rica free SIM card, I'm good. So it basically was there to feed illegal immigrants. It was also there to feed criminals, all that jazz. And these kids were part of that syndicate. They were part of a syndicate of awarding drug lords, merciless homicidal men and women, free reign to communicate with each other in the South Africa of ours without the law being on to them, right next to the illegals in the country having that as a thing. Still to this day, it's a thing. Unfortunately, with every law that gets erected, there will always be there'll always be people that, you know, cut corners. But you see, you cannot cut corners with the law without working with people for that particular organization. You can't cut corners when it comes to money laundering. For instance, if you're going to launder your money through the banks of a country without working with employees of those banks, you've got to know someone that is shoddy and shady and nasty and all, you know, black and like putrid and orange in color. Yeah, because they look like pus inside Standard Bank. You gotta have pus inside Investec. You gotta have pus oozing out of a wound, out of ABSA. You gotta have pus oozing out of FNB in order to successfully launder money for your company using First National Bank, you've got to have a rotten, pus-oozing banker willing to turn the other cheek and overlook this thing for, 10,000 rands underneath the table. They need employees for these companies to commit these atrocities. That's what I'm getting at. So the pus oozing out of MTN, the festering wound that Archer had even flies hovering around it, maggoted. Yeah, with these call center agents. There had to be people that worked in the call centers. Call centers. That's why I keep saying, call center, yako YouTube. It's low, it's entry-level staff members that, however, have got administrative rights that under normal circumstances are low level. They are low level. I mean, it's not like, it's not quite the equivalent to the tantamount of the rights that a senior manager would have to authorize like a 500 million rands transfer. That would have to go to like a bank manager, a branch manager. Do you understand what I'm saying? But when you're dealing with a small number, like a small amount, like 5,000 rands, that particular branch manager can delegate to the supervisors over the tellers, because that's what it is, that are the permissions they're given. So they keep these amounts or these things that can be done. They keep them small enough to only need low-level employees, or at maximum supervisors, but also tarnishing enough or devastating enough to truly afflict whatever they're trying to afflict. It has to be able to make a dent in whatever they're trying to hurt, but it cannot reach the ears and the eyes and go up the nostrils like a fragrance of upper management, upper middle management, and senior management. It cannot reach the ears of head honchos. So they work with kids that don't have the biggest of salaries. People are just about 15,000 rands a month. People about 8,000 rands a month. They work with them and they give them 2, 3, 4, 5,000 rands. I mean, really, when you are earning 8.5 a month, when you are earning 15 grand a month, trust me, when somebody is out here giving you an extra 7,000 rands every single month, on top of that 15K, you are going, and again, it's tax-free, because I get it, it's shoddy money. It's criminal money. You are going to feel blessed to have been chosen. One day when you walk into call center yako MTN, when you get off the taxi and somebody in a black Mercedes is like, "Hi, how are you? You work for MTN, right? In the call center. My name is Leonard. What's your name?" "I'm Lerato." "Yeah, how would you like to make an extra 10,000 rands every month?" And Lerato's like, "You, like I've got a brand spanking new baby and her diapers are expensive." This Lerato's gonna be like, "What do I need to do?" Leonard is then like, "What department exactly for MTN do you work for?" "Okay, you are a call center agent." "Okay, cool. What kind or what permissions do you have on the systems? Can you administrate policies? Can you change names? Can you are you a data capturer? What are you?" "Okay, you capture data. Cool. Now, can I give you a policy number? And can you please capture this data in this policy? Can you put in this information on this policy?" Therefore, putting in the wrong beneficiary for a person they're trying to assassinate in the future, that when they pass away and the policy details come out, the wife is left bereft with no, insurance money. But the money goes to some strange person. And when you look at the policy, but I mean, here it is that John Doe is the beneficiary according to this. John Doe is the beneficiary, and the wife is like, "But this was my husband." And you know how it is with insurance. When I used to work in insurance, Go Liberty Life, the interstate succession and the laws of interstate succession, basically whatever it is that a policy holder says is the beneficiary trumps interstate succession. They don't have to have a last will and testament. What it is that a person says, "I want to be the beneficiary," is what goes. It's the final authority. It is superior to the laws of interstate succession that automatically give a wife the inheritance of a man that passes away. So if somebody can change the name of a beneficiary on a policy proper, a woman will actually be left out on a limb without a house, without an ability to pay mortgage or anything like that, because some strange Jomo Vandavesteisen is a beneficiary. And so the company will respond by saying, "Your husband must have had a double life, a secret life, a lover by the name of Jomo, because he gave all of this policy fund money to Jomo. You were not mentioned, neither were your children. Nothing has been put in a trust. Sorry, ma'am, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to have to respect the wishes of the deceased." That is the kind of stuff that people that are full of sabotage do, right? They will out here literally be messing up with Jomo's policy, not Jomo, but Lucas's policy, in order to enrich Jomo unfairly by hiring some policy administrator inside Liberty Life to data capture and change the information on Jomo's policy, on Lucas's policy, absent of Lucas's knowledge, and then 5 months later assassinate Lucas. And then when the wife is like, I'm here to cash in on my husband's policy, Liberty Life is then like, sorry ma'am, there is a person here with this ID number by the name of Jomo van der Westhuizen that is supposed to be taking the funds. He has already been paid out. He came to claim already. This woman would have to go through a whole court case. She would have to basically fight and fight and fight. But if this ridiculous call center agent has ever since then quit their job, or if they have got, if this call center agent has a track, what do they call it? If the call center agent has got evidence of having basically received the paperwork, the call, and everything, and a signed document from the dead, like Lucas, they can't even get fired for having changed material information on a policy, because she will just say, I only changed the policy because I got the request and the policy holder signed it and his ID number was in my possession as well, the copy of his ID, everything. I did my job. I just did my job. So I'm sorry, the husband must have changed his mind. He did, maybe they had problems with the wife, I don't know, but we cannot be paying this thing out to Jomo. This woman, to Lucas's wife, this woman has no idea when she's actually getting paid by some shoddy little man in a Mercedes black. She has no idea that the intention is to, in 7 months down the line or 5 months down the line, assassinate the person where the information is being changed. All she's thinking is 10,000 rands. I'm going to be getting 10 grand to do this thing. I'm going to be getting this to do this thing. But you see, when you are given that one bribe, the thing about criminals of this nature, these people who do stuff like this, is that they're like gamblers that way. Gamblers. Winners know when to stop. They are like gamblers. The first taste of 10K, yamahala nje etswang mo moyeng like a bird. It's just so like delectable. It's so delicious, this free money, that they get addicted to it. They go back, they gamble again. They go back, they gamble again. They go back, they gamble again and again and again and again. But you see, the thing about gambling is that you will get rewarded with that one opportunity to win 10,000 rands from only investing 100 rands in the slot machine. And then you will keep on spending 10,000 rands in order to try and this time around make 100,000 rands from 10,000 rands. And you will come out in the red, indebted to the casino. You will take out loans with loan sharks to try and meet again with that winning streak at your peril. And so therefore, the rabbit hole will go deeper and deeper and deeper down. Deeper and deeper and deeper down will you twist in this wind, go down this rabbit hole, oh Alice. And that's when one day you're sitting at your desk and some dude wearing blue is there on some Karabo Hlongwane. Yes, you're under arrest for embezzlement of company funds at MTN. You have the right to remain silent, sister. What I do? You are under arrest. Let us go. Future gone. Future gone because of greed. If you had taken just that one bribe 2 years ago, it might slip through the cracks. You can lie and say, I got the documents. Here, Mr. Lucas gave us his approval to change the beneficiary on the policy. But I mean, when you've got, when you as Lerato have got 7 widows in a space of 2 years, out here lament to Liberty Life that their policies were not paid out because the money went to some other strange people, and you're the one that 7 months ago, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 12 months ago, conveniently changed the beneficiary to some other people. And then these people pass away in violent accidents. One is a car accident, the other one is a shooting, the other one is a like freak accident in a factory, blah blah blah. They basically all get killed in ways that sometimes doesn't even look like they were killed. Abaying poisoning, foaming at the mouth and whatnot. And for the past 2 years, 7 widows have come forth. 7 widows have come forth, and all of them got their claims repudiated because they were in no position to claim, because the money went to some other people who came and claimed fast before even these women could claim. And it happens to be Lerato that changed the beneficiary a couple of months before that particular policy was claimed from. Yeah, when there is what we call a trend, a track record, when there is what we call a breadcrumb trail, or Hansel and Gretel, that's when they start to do deeper investigations. That's when they start to ask, kodwa lo mfazi lona, I mean, one widow, we get it, maybe two. But 7 in 2 years. And